Welcome to the Blissful Badger, and my review of Eldfall Chronicles Northern Wind. Free Company is a name that I've heard recently, and their Eldfall Chronicles game, and I found Northern Wind as an interesting board game version that I'd be able to use the minis for in other games as well. And I think those minis also can work in Northern Wind, but this is an unboxing and a review of the minis before I get around to painting them, because they use a material called Unicool, and I want to see what that is like compared to the plastic and resin and metal that I usually use. So, so it is a decently sized box with lots of things in it. And cool, it has some save game sleeves. That's always good if you have continued play. A bunch of locations on a map. I guess this is how you move through the game? Don't know. Compass says that for normal north. Spellbook. Quick reference. Always useful. Tokens legend. Oh, there's going to be lots of tokens. This is going to be quite a useful thing. 4-page quick reference is probably a sign that there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. Alright. A bunch of map tiles. They're all numbered, so that's good. Inside and outside, different places. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The cardboard seems nice. It's a decent thickness. Tokens won't wear down too fast or anything. Whoop, that one's a large room. And okay. Another of that size. Ooh. Yeah, all the tokens taking up that extra space is nice. That is a lot of letters. Okay. Still more tokens. This is a miniatures game, but there are quite the number of tokens. Alright. And then cardboard standees. Interesting. Cool. Alright, that's a stack of cardboard. A nice little rule book. So that'll be good. Northern Wind is a quest-driven skirmish campaign. This rulebook contains the core mechanics for Eldfall Chronicles dungeon crawl gameplay, including in-depth explanations, examples, and a comprehensive reference for abilities and additional rules. Modular tile-based tactical RPG supports up to 4 players. Cool. Within the world of Eldfall Chronicles, it's a standalone expansion introducing fast-paced mechanics, branching campaign storylines, and countless quest combinations. So that's pretty cool. Northern Wind is a standalone game but fully cross-compatible with Eldfall Chronicles Skirmish Wargame. Whether playing cooperatively, competitively, or solo, all miniatures and mechanics seamlessly transition between game modes, offering a unified experience. Right there. That is the reason why I decided to buy Northern Wind. Because I can have a board game tactical RPG in a box, but also still be able to use them in the skirmish game. So that sounds really good. It also says the first of many chronicles. So are we going to see a new one after Northern Wind? Well, let's see how this game goes, and if I like it, maybe I'll buy more. But nice gameplay sequence. Everything looks nice and easily readable. It's in different spots. Everything is good. Lots of cool lists of everything. Yep. Full color. Everything looks laid out nice and easily to read. Has examples of what works and what doesn't. This is going to be a good overview. So I'm going to have to read this before I play. Oh, wow. This is the quest log. This is the rulebook. This is the quest log. So that has quite a lot in it. And it's got the right binding for when you're referencing something. So that's nice. It can lay flat. That's nice. Alright, so we have cards and more cards. These are the unit cards. Tells you what they can do, how much health they have, all that. So that's nice. Cards and cards. Some pretty cool dice. The ones are the symbols. The 20s show. That makes sense because a 1 is a crit in this game. And then it looks like this is for the standee. Okay. And then the miniatures. Alright. They feel solid. There's a little bit of cleanup needed. There's a little spot right there. Another one on... I can't really see any mold lines, but there's a tiny bit right here. Flash, whatever. So that's good. And everything looks to be keyed properly. Oh yeah, that keys nice and easily into place. It feels nice. It's not super heavy. It's actually slightly lighter than the normal hard plastic I'm used to, but it feels feels pretty good. We'll see how it cleans, but there isn't much to need cleaning from what I'm seeing. There's a few little, there's a spot right here, but for a game piece, it's way more than I would expect. Magnet hole? Hole to put a magnet in? Really? It has front and side facing, so you know where arcs are. That's good. Alright. So far, pretty nice. And then we have heroes. And inside this, we have cards for said heroes. It's nice packaging, nice cardboard to keep everything in place. It looks like that needs to be trimmed down a little bit. It's sticking up on the bottom. Let's see inside. Yep, so there's a little bit of extra right here that needs to be trimmed off. The front and side arcs and spaces for feet. So let's see. If I take the legs, yep, that slots right in. That's simple enough. And then that goes right on top. All right. That is a nice connection point, and that's actually probably going to be painted in 2 parts because painting cloaks is a pain, so having one little thing like that to clip in actually might be really nice. So I might have to paint these in sub-assemblies. Not that there's a lot of pieces, but that gives me a better time painting. So, but yeah, they feel decent. I like that there's a magnet hole in the bottom. I'm pretty sure that's what that's for. Yeah, that they all look like quality minis. I don't see any issues. I'll have to build them all to see how they actually build. Again, that sub-assembly option is really nice. I like that they just, the way that they packaged it so it was nice and flat and each of the boxes is right here. That's really nice. It has slots for everything. It's like, that's pretty cool. What does the undead look like? Undead. Alright, so we have Forgotten Hero, Bonewalker, and Vengeful Spirit. That's cool. And they look pretty highly detailed. This is 2 parts. It's got the body and then the arms. Head and arms? Ah, veil. There we go. So yeah, that's two pieces and the base. A little bit of extra to clean up right here, a little bit to clean up on the bottom of that, but they placed it in the bottoms, so that's nice. And that's got some nice crisp lines. It's not going to take too much effort to paint. There's a bunch of skulls down here. That's pretty cool. Let me get that in focus. But that is a nice model. This is not a cheap board game mini. This is actually a game piece. It's nice. And also, building it in two parts is not a very hard thing to do for anyone who might be picking it up and doesn't have that board game or the mini game experience. Like, this is actually pretty easy to be an entry point. So that's pretty good. So that's pretty good. And there's a bunch of different options in here. This one has a lot more pieces. That one as well. So some of them are going to be more pieces than others. It does... Nope, that... I was like, does that bow have a break? But no, that's a sword behind a bow. So, it's still fine. But yeah, I'll get these built up, and I will give you my thoughts on all of them. I might do it as a time lapse. That might actually be pretty cool to see. How long does it actually take to build all of these? Some of them, though, I wanted to do sub-assembly, so I don't know. But, let's see. There's pretty cool onis and everything. And larger bases. Again, high detail, not anything super crazy. Some fur. It's got some nice fur texture to it. Yeah. Yeah, let me get these built up. The Empire is locked in a relentless battle against the Oni, monstrous demons that plague its northernmost frontiers. This grueling winter war has raged for decades, pushing the Empire and its people to the brink. In desperation, the Empire devises a bold plan to strike at the Oni's lair. But when the expedition is sabotaged, the fate of the Empire falls into the hands of four unlikely heroes. Their perilous journey will test their courage, strength, and wit as they brave the treacherous slopes of Mount Biodo. Through their eyes, you'll face malevolent forces determined to destroy them, and confront the darkness encroaching on the Empire. Dynamic and cooperative gameplay. The fusion of skirmish wargame and RPG elements deliver intense combat and a deeply engaging cooperative experience. With fast-paced mechanics, multiple campaign storylines, and countless quests and other combinations, every session is a fresh and exciting adventure. Unparalleled quality miniatures. The miniatures are crafted from Unicool hard plastic, a revolutionary material that maximizes detail and durability, offering an unparalleled gaming and hobby experience. Cross-compatibility. Eldfall Chronicles supports both skirmish wargame and dungeon crawl systems for cooperative, competitive, or solo play, with all miniatures fully cross-compatible. Unified mechanics and shared rules make transitioning between the two modes seamless and intuitive. 1 to 4 players, 60 to 120 minutes per quest. We'll have to test that out, won't we? So, without any instructions on how to build any of these, and never working with Unicool before, I built 15 models in an hour and 6 minutes. And every sculpt looks decent enough to not need to subassemble except for this cloak. So this one model doesn't have one piece glued on, which wouldn't have taken any effort, but just having that one slightly separated so I can paint in the cloak easier is going to be good. Everything else, if it has a cloak, it's got plenty of space so you can actually get in there to paint, which is an amazing aspect on them. There are one or two weapons that are a little bit bent, but supposedly you can heat them up a little bit and move them back into the shape. But there's enough give in it that I'm not that worried about breaking it, like a recent model that I have from a different company. And the detail is nice. I'm really looking forward to getting these painted. Subscribe if you haven't so that you don't miss any future videos. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters for making these videos possible. And until next time, I hope you find your bit of bliss.